Hello, my name is Trenton Hoshiko, and I'm a photographer in Northern Colorado. And this is kind of part two of my introduction series to a lot of my photos. If you haven't seen part one, I encourage you to go check it out. And basically, with this video series, I'm going to just talk about some of my photography, what I love about them, what I was thinking, what I think now, especially if some time has passed, the kind of equipment I used, and what inspires me and all those kinds of fun things. And so this is part two. If you want to learn more about my photography, you can go to trentonhoshiko.photography. I have plenty of information over there on my website. If you like these kinds of videos, do please subscribe and like the video. Let's get started. So this is a completely different type of photo. This is something that I shot while on a film set for a music video. We were filming in the middle of the desert in Las Vegas. I don't think the music video ever came out, unfortunately. There was some cool stuff that we shot for it, but the band had set up all their instruments in a circle in the middle of this, dry lake bed area, and we were going to get this like really cool drone flyover shot with it. And I kind of walked back to the production van and just turned around, and I was able to see this setup here, and being this kind of completely empty area with just some instruments in the middle of it for some reason, caught my eye, and so I took this photo. And part of what makes this so different is that the last photos were shot on the Sony A7R Mark II. High resolution, pretty nice lens. This, on the other hand, was shot on a point and shoot camera with interchangeable lenses, an Olympus EPL1, which is maybe my favorite camera to use because it's so portable and still has interchangeable lenses, and I really like how it handles a lot of things like the light and the color. And that camera's from like 2009, and it's not the best camera in the world. It is not super high resolution. And the lens that I shot this on, I believe, was the body cap like 24 millimeter, 35 millimeter. And that combo is probably how I take most of my photos just for myself in my daily life and hobbyist photography. And if I'm on set, that's just an easy camera to have in my pocket or looped around my neck, because it's not heavy, it's not cumbersome, it doesn't swing around and whack anything. And that just allowed me to kind of turn around and snap this photo. But I'm not sure if I like this photo in color or black and white more. I kind of like black and white more. It's very gray, yes, but the starkness of the instruments sitting there definitely pops a little more. Both of these have been edited somewhat. Obviously, the black and white one has been edited to make it black and white, but they've been edited some. I've manipulated the colors a little bit. But I kind of like the black and white version a little bit better. There's something else about it that makes it even more otherworldly than just having the instruments sitting in the middle of an empty desert. Tell me which one you guys like more in the comments down below. I'm curious. From the same shoot, this is my buddy Gunner setting up his drum kit. And this is straight out of the camera. I love that little Olympus camera. It is so fun and so nice. And yeah, he just was staying there, sun's beating down on all of us. We're all kind of miserably hot and getting swept with dust. I believe you can actually see some of that dust sweeping in the background there. And he just like grabbed the kick drum and held it up, and I just quickly got this shot, and I love it. I think this embodies my buddy Gunner's spirit so well, and it just was this nice, like, not candid because he's posing, but just off the cuff moment that just always brings a smile to my face. My buddy Gunner is absolutely one of those people who just like knows how to pose and just like embodies it. So once again, this is the Olympus EPL1. I love the EPL cameras. I had an EPL2 that got stolen back by the eBay seller I bought it from after it broke, and then they were going to repair it. And then I got an EPL1, and like I said, I use this camera all the time. And this is a street photo from Boulder, and this one and the next one are from the same trip, and I think actually the same area. And this has been edited in post. I think I put this one through Dehancer actually to get some of those film colors. Unlike the last photo, this one is shot with a 50 millimeter, I think, Miyake lens. It's not the body cap lens that I do love and use most of the time on that camera. And I really like just all of the conflicting lines in this photo and the next photo. There's just a lot of visual information really packed in here. And we have like the gazebo is parallel to the front of the building, but then the perpendicular lines of the other part of the gazebo framing run contrary to the actual front of the building. And this is not like the most traditional architecture photo. This is not a real estate photo in particular, but it's using all of these lines and all of this like busy energy to kind of force your eye around the frame through all the details and to the door. And something that I really love about this photo is that the lines aren't necessarily quote unquote correct. We have lots of vertical lines in the middle. We have these diagonal lines that are kind of intersecting them. We have the stairs as well as like the uh, kind of wooden walls there. We have all the lines of the bricks. And we do have the white line and the blue line straight in the middle of the frame. And frequently having such distinct lines almost down the center of your frame is considered a don't do in photography. But playing with it here, I think it works, especially because we have all of these different lines intersecting. I love playing with lines, and I think that's kind of fun. This was like a very golden hour kind of moment. This was like February, it's a couple years ago now. The afternoon, still kind of winter sun look falling on all these blue tones on this building with all these like mosaic reliefs. Really fun stuff. So I believe this is the same area because this is, I think, another part of the gazebo for that last location. And you can actually see like the boulder, like bandstand, clamshell, whatever it's called, in the background there. And this, once again, I'm playing with lines. I love lines. I love lines in architecture in particular, and I love having lines be weird or intersected or not exactly the right way. And like I said, we have once again that really nice golden light falling here. This one's also been put through dehancer just to give it some more of a filmic color. And I really like using that older camera that the sensor makes the photos look older combined with dehancer to get something that I would think is a little bit more of a quote unquote film-like photo in terms of getting some of that like nostalgia view. Once again, we have all these vertical lines throughout the frame that are so distinct. And then we have those intersect with those wooden beams that are running diagonal, but then the shadow runs kind of counter diagonal to the beams themselves, because that's kind of how shadows work. And it just creates this really interesting structure amongst all of the branches that are completely the opposite. The branches branch out like, trees and bushes in this very natural, progressive way, while as the structure itself is very human. It's rigid and has all these straight lines and diagonals to it. And my last photo here is something completely different from the other ones. This is on a small miniature wrap wall that I made. I got a big bundle of oranges and just kind of spread them out and ate one. This is an old photo from college and from a cinematography class that I was taking at the time. And we were just working on image making, without motion. And I wanted something that was like really, really textural. If I was going to shoot this again, I'd probably have a couple more oranges. I think there's too much white space. But every time I say that in my head, I like the white space also, so I don't know if I would do it differently. I wanted to get the texture of the orange peel specifically in that in focus range right in the middle there, and I wanted to get the texture of the inside of the orange that had been eaten. Like I said, I don't know if I would do things quite differently with this because part of me says I'd rather have those oranges at the front also be a little bit more in focus to get that texture that I was seeking, but also the contrast of the almost like smoothness because of the combination of the depth of field and the waxy look versus the pitted, skin of an orange a little bit further back, I think adds something also. That juxtaposition is interesting to me. And the whole thing being taken on this improvised wrapped wall. If I remember correctly, I just got like 3 or 4 poster boards. I think I had 2 LED panels at the front, and then just, these white poster boards kind of wrapping up, and then maybe some posters on the sides to create a little bit more of a wrap. I'm not positive if I even did the ones on the side because we don't really get too much of an edge light. But the idea was to create this very even lighting overall that was there only to kind of just highlight the oranges and then to let the light fall within the pitting of the skin to give that texture. And I think my favorite orange, besides the one that's been eaten, might be the one in the back right, the second from the right, that is kind of like the ugly orange. It has this like bottom part that's all scarred and some scars along the sides, probably where it got, scratched against the tree or something like that. I think that one might be my favorite beyond the one that got eaten. I'll probably eventually have more from this series that I just include in random collections for these videos, but this is probably my favorite photo from that series. I think it's kind of fun. And thank you for joining me on some introductions to my photos. This is an incredibly small sample size from all the photos that I take. These span a couple of years. Like I said, I love all types of genres. I specifically love architecture and real estate and portrait photography, and especially ones of those that let me get to play a little bit and make things just a little bit different or see things from a different perspective or those kinds of things. I love playing with the brain's expectations within photography. Even here, these photos and how they're completed, I think speak a lot to the kinds of photos that I like and that I seek and the fun that I have. And like I said, thank you for being here for some introductions. And if you want to see more of these collection videos and me talking about photography and me talking about the kinds of photos that I take, the kinds of photos that I love, using a whole wide range of equipment, please do subscribe. I'd love to have you. If you liked this video, please give it a like. That helps me reach other people who like these kinds of photography videos. If you want to learn more about my photography, you can go to trentonhoshiko.photography. That's my website and has plenty of information on there about me, my work, and how to work with me if you're curious. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful week ahead of you.